A very good afternoon to one and all. I welcome you all in third webinar in the Revalue Communication Dissemination series on circular economy, value-added products from Surimi industry byproducts, organized by Amity Food and Agriculture Foundation, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Noida. We shall mark the beginning of this event by praying to Ma Saraswati to bestow her blessings upon us.
ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् हे शारदे मा अज्ञानतासे हमें तार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानतासे हमें तार दे माँ तो श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे हाथों में वीणा मुकुट सर पे साजे तो श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे मुकुट सर पे साजे मन से हमारे मिटा दे अंधेरे हमको उजालों का संसार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ.
Well, sorry about the little glitch. Moving on. Now, we would humbly request Dr. Nutan Kaushik, Director General, Amity Food and Agriculture Foundation, to welcome our esteemed guest and share her valuable insight about the webinar.
Thank you, Khushbu. A very good morning to all of. Good morning and good afternoon to all of you. Good morning to my friends from European Union, from European countries, and good afternoon to my Indian friends. I welcome you all on behalf of our Honorable Founder President, Dr. Ashok Chauhan, our Chancellor, Dr. Atul Chauhan, and our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Balbindra Shukla ma'am. I welcome you all to this webinar series, the last webinar of our webinar series of the Revalue project, result dissemination. So this is the third webinar in the series. First webinar was conducted by Vits Pilani on 10th of June. And then second webinar we conducted on wash water. That was on 6th of August this month. And this is the third one in series, where we will be telling we will be disseminating our result of the byproducts utilization of the Surimi industry. So before I come to this Revalue project, I would like to mention here that I have very long association with Syntac Ocean. This is my third. The Revalue is my third project. Before that, the first project was the European Union project, which was on valorization of the mustard cake. So we developed a biopesticide for by utilization of the glucosinolate from the mustard cake, and then we compared the European mustard cake with the Indian mustard cake, and we valorized it. That was the first project. It was a very big project. There were 26 partners in that project, and I worked with Dr. Rasa and Dr. Revalue in that project. So that was in 2013. And then later on, the moment that project was getting over, we got a year after that, we got this INTPART project, that ReFood project, which was supported by ASEAN, the ASEAN Norway. And this was basically an exchange project to facilitate the exchange of the faculty and students. And then there we had three very good, nice collaboration with them on valorization of the energy efficient processes and valorization of the food processing industry. Then we wrote the Revalue project and we got that also under the EU Indigo project. So I'm very glad that we are continuing this one. And then before this project ended, we got another project, the fourth project, that is Omega, again supported by ASEAN. So I'm very happy with this collaboration, and particularly to Dr. Rasa, Dr. Revalia, and Dr. Matri. All of them have been cooperating very well. And then this is leading, and as we were discussing before the start of this workshop, that we should continue this. We should write more projects and get more projects and continue this collaboration. So that we will continue, Dr. Rasa and Dr. Matthew and Dr. Revelia and Dr. Alberto, that we will continue our relationship and we'll keep writing the project and getting the projects also. So thank you for this nice cooperation. So in this workshop, we will be having a few presented, initially the remarks by Dr. Sivamurthy sir, Dr. Rajiv Sharma sir, and Dr. Chakravarti sir, and afterwards we will be having the presentations by the various faculty about the products which we have developed, and not only about the product but also about the regulations which will govern these products and how we will take care of those regulations and what the market acceptability of these products. So this is in short which we are going to discuss. Since we are running short, since we there's a lot to be discussed within 2 hours, so I will stop over here, and then because I will be also giving 2 more presentations during which we can discuss the product. So once again, I welcome you all to this important webinar, and look forward to the outcome of this webinar in terms of the new projects or in, for the product which we have developed in this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, we may please request Dr. W. Selvamurthy, President, Amity Science, Technology and Innovation Foundation and Director General, ADSI, to share his views with us. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Kushbu. A very good morning and good evening to all the members who have joined us from different parts of the world, particularly Europe. And particularly, I'm so happy to welcome Dr. Raza Slaisty, Dr. Alberto Kaleja, and Dr. Revilija Muzuraiti, and all the very distinguished participants in this webinar. I must first of all compliment Dr. Nutan Kaushik and her team for successfully completing yet another collaborative project with multiple partners, including BITS Pilani, then also Sintef, and we want to do many, many more. Because this is what is required. If universities have to become cradle of innovation, we need to have this very strong linkage, bond between academia and industry. Because academia can develop a product up to a lab scale level. But then how do you scale up and then market it, manufacture and market it? So you need that industry. Industry connect is very vital. And in Amity, we have given a great focus. Founder President Dr. Ashok Chauhan himself is an entrepreneur, and he had almost 6,000 employees from across the globe in his company when he was in Germany. So he has that entrepreneurship, and we have industries, Amity group of industries, and we have also 11 universities, 17 campuses abroad, 28 schools. So all this philosophy of connecting with industry is there because that entrepreneurship is there in our ecosystem as well. So this we nurture it. We want to nurture, develop the partnership with Sintef, and as Dr. Nutan Kaushik has already done a few projects with them, but we want to augment, expand, and deepen this relationship with the industry and the other partners, academic partners, research partners, including BITS Pilani, which is a top institution, one of the top institutions in the country, as well as they have global presence as well. So we have such strong partner. So it will be great to bring out many products. So before you close the project, you should now think about a multiple of projects so that you can take it in a phased manner. So I would be expecting an outcome from this deliberations today. What is the way ahead? How many more such collaborative endeavors how many more products we want to bring through this collaboration. And that I would like to listen and also have this as an outcome. So I'm sure this will be mutually beneficial to all the partners. Sustainability is very important. So whichever work which we do, sustainability is a common denominator. So the project which you have just going to present, discuss, and which you have just completed is Surimi industry byproducts, which you have brought out, is very gratifying to see. Otherwise, you are throwing the whole waste into the environment. Now, from this waste of the wash of the fishes, you are now going to bring out a product, and you are also taking care of that pollution which you would be doing to the environment. So you are generating wealth from waste. That is one. The second is you are also remedying the environment by converting that into a value-added product. So this is what is necessary. SDG is one of the aim is to have this type of approach to our research innovation. So I must compliment the whole team, Dr. Nutan, and the whole team of the members of the team who have participated from Amity as well as from industry and other academic institution. So compliments to you. And the Amity has developed a very strong industry connect, because today India is emerging as $5 trillion economy. Now we are now going to from $2.8 trillion, what we are today. We have put a target. Our Honorable Prime Minister has put a target. We should become $5 trillion economy. So we have to bring Atmanirbhar Bharat. That means self-reliant technologies. So we want to bring many products which will be frugal. Frugal means cost effective and less investment, maximize the output, and also the accessibility of the affordability of the technology or the product which we develop is very important. So that is what is the philosophy with which Amity develops product, that it is affordable to even people at the bottom of the pyramid in socioeconomic conditions. So our product also should be of that, whatever we do. So one is frugality, the other one is sustainability. These two are very vital. And I'm sure this research which you have done in Surimi byproducts is also aiming at this. Then we are also keeping the sustainability in a big focus in all our research. So your project is also addressing this. So even in your future projects, please keep this affordability and also sustainability in the projects research which we want to do. So with this, my congratulations to Dr. Nutan Kaushik and the whole team, and the founder president, Dr. Ashok Chauhan, and the chancellors, Dr. Atul Chauhan, Dr. Asim Chauhan. They have conveyed their best wishes, greetings to the whole team. And again, once again, congratulations to each and every one of you. Wish you many, many more such great accomplishments and fruitful outcomes in your endeavors. So with that, I once again compliment and thank you for this opportunity to share a few of my thoughts at the initial part of this deliberations, which I would be keenly looking forward to listen, as well as also to take it forward as the way ahead, what we want to do. So that will be the most interesting part of your discussion. Best wishes. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind and motivating words. Now, honoring us with his presence is Dr. Rajiv Sharma, Director General, Amity Foundation for Science, Technology and Innovation Alliances, Senior Vice President, Ritnan Balved, Education Foundation, to address the gathering.
Thank you. It is actually, I really feel very happy to participate in this workshop, actually discussion on project outcome. The reasons are manifold. Actually, of course, one thing that the alliances itself, actually, we have here actually international alliance, then we have industry academia alliance. So both ways, actually, it's very fulfilling. That whatever is the outcome, actually, certainly they will be of societal value. Actually, whenever industry is involved, it is always ascertained that whatever comes out of the project, actually, that will be helping some way to the society. Actually, and here, of course, we will be also fulfilling the objective of the sustainability, because this product, Dr. Selvamurthy was very aptly mentioned that otherwise it will be waste product. Actually, it will be polluting the environment. Now, instead, actually, the project itself is working in such a way that it will generate the wealth and it will be useful actually in many ways. So that's why actually I mentioned that it is very fulfilling for to us actually, and I am very happy actually to be associated this project actually today attending, because up to 2011, in fact, I was heading the international cooperation division in Ministry of Science and Technology, and Europe was actually our major partners actually in many programs. So I'm very happy to see Norway, Spain there actually in that. Uh, and Europe is always actually in forefront of sustainability and environment protection. So I'm sure actually the whatever product outcome comes actually project outcome, it will be going into that direction. I'd like to thank you actually Dr. Nutan Kaushik for inviting me here, and also actually working out this project uh, and implementing with such wonderful colleagues actually. So I'm also looking forward to actually hear from the various participants actually, various project participants in today's meeting, and looking for the outcomes actually. And I'm sure actually that afterwards also actually a lot of other outcome will come actually, which will be moving into developing new alliances actually, and maybe strengthening the existing alliances with these partners here actually. So best wishes to you all actually, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, may I please request Dr. A. Chakravarti, Deputy Journal, ADSI, to address the gathering.
So thank you, and just repeating the good morning. Dr. Raza, Dr. Alberto, Dr. Muzaroiti, and obviously Dr. Nutan Kaushik. You have brought us together, and I could see that this is the third webinar in the series when you are primarily actually talking about a report which might help in our regulations for the waste to wealth concept. And that's why you have appropriately talked about the circular economy and connected it. I do not know exactly what is the surimi production in countries like India, but I think this is one of the major seafood in the European continent. Whatever it may be, but such reports will be very useful. And I'm very happy to see the SINTEF group here, because they have been doing this kind of work for quite some time, even before joining this project. I want to compliment Dr. Nutan Kaushik. I think she is a leader, and she is bringing together this excellent team when we are talking about progress through partnership. And this progress through partnerships, I think one of the testimony is this project. Both Dr. Selva Murthy sir and Dr. Rajiv Sharma sir has already talked about sustainability. And the circular economy, the waste to wealth concept is actually takes you to the sustainable issues. I was at one point of time little bit associated with this ERANET projects. And from that context, I can tell you that when this project was getting approved or sanctioned, they were very highly appreciative of it, because I was that part of the team when this project was being considered. So I wish you a great success, a fantastic report coming out, which we policymakers may like to use for creating our national policy, especially on this. We have taken up the surimi processing, but I think this will also may be applicable to many of the seafoods processing units. which will help us in creating the guidelines. So thank you once again for inviting me. Wish your deliberations for the whole day a great success. As usual, I am looking for a document from you, which we can study and use to create new guidelines for the not only for India, but the entire world as well, keeping sustainability in mind, circular economy in mind, and waste to wealth in mind. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we have Dr. Maitri Thakur, Senior Research Scientist from Sintef Ocean, Norway. Dr. Thakur will be sharing an overview of Revalue project. In her association of more than 10 years with Sintef Ocean, she was responsible for project management, supply chain information modeling, and data interoperability, just to quote a few. We welcome you, ma'am.
Yes, we can see. We can see. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yes, so my name is Maitri Thakur. I'm a senior researcher at Sintef Ocean, and I am the coordinator of Revalue project, or the principal investigator, as it's more commonly known in India and other countries. So I'll just give a very brief overview of the project before we get into the scientific presentations. So Revalue project actually started in 2018, and now we are in the final phase. It's ending now in August, so just a few more days to go. It's an innovation project with a primary objective of developing technologies to improve resource efficiency in the surimi industry. The project was funded by the Indigo Eranet call on bioeconomy with a total budget of 800,000 euros. And it's jointly funded by the Research Council of Norway, Department of Biotechnology India, and CDTI Spain. And partners, of course, all of you know, partners include MIT University, BITS Pilani. So we have 2 universities from India. And then we have Carenza, which is a SME in Spain, and several industry stakeholders from India have been involved. When we think about sustainable development goals, the project kind of contributes to 2 goals. So to SDG 2 on zero hunger and SDG 12 on responsible consumption and production. Project is divided in 4 scientific work packages. The first one deals with cold chain management and developing refrigeration technologies for maintaining the cold chain, and this was led by BITS Pilani in India. And work package 2 deals with the developing valorization techniques for utilization of byproducts, or as we call them, rest raw materials. Actually, in Norway, we don't even use the term byproducts anymore, which is led by Dr. Rasa. And work package 3 deals with using these ingredients that are extracted or developed in work package 2 into value-added products. That's led by Dr. Nutan at MIT University. And then we have work package 4 that looks at market exploitation, how to use these ingredients and products. Is there a market for them? And we've also looked at life cycle assessment and some economic evaluation in work package 4 that's led by Dr. Alberto from Carenza in Spain. So you'll hear, of course, more detailed presentations later, but some of the key outcomes of the project are actually the concepts that are developed for improving supply chain logistics and cold chain management, as well as climate-friendly refrigeration technologies that can be used on the fishing boats, as well as in the supply chain as fish moves through processing and to the consumers. We have developed techniques for valorization of rest raw materials that are generated from surimi industry into functional ingredients for food and feed applications. So you'll hear, I think we have 2 presentations on this topic. And then we have developed recommendations for market exploitation in Europe and India, taking the regulatory frameworks in both places into account. So you'll also hear more details on that. And maybe the most important thing is that we have established a partnership or even strengthened it further between the Revalue partners and other stakeholders from Europe and India that are working in the field of bioeconomy. The project has also contributed to education and capacity building. We've had 4 PhD research scholars from India involved in the project. So we have 2 PhD research scholars from BITS Pilani that have worked mostly in work package 1 on cold chain management. And then, of course, you have been hearing from Khushbu, and I think Asha is also in the webinar today. So we have 2 of them from MIT University, and they have been closely linked to work package 2 and 3. So they're all doing the PhD funded by the Revalue project. We've also had some research stays in collaboration with another project we had with India called ReFood. So we have had students from Norway that went to India and stayed there for a while, and vice versa. So we've had good collaboration in terms of student exchanges as well. We've produced a lot in this project. When it comes to dissemination and communication activities, we already have 12 scientific publications, and there are at least 6 others in progress. And the PhD work continues. I think at least, if not for 1 year, at least 6 more months for most of these 4 research scholars. So there will be more publications. And then we have 9 published reports from the results generated in this project. We've also published in popular science media and like trade press publications. So we have 8 now, and I think we might have a few more. We've presented at conferences and given lectures, so about 23 of them. We've had 3 open days and 2 webinars dedicated only to Revalue, but of course we have participated in other webinars as well. So this is the second one that's only a Revalue webinar. So the first one actually was in June that focused on cold chain management and designing energy efficient supply chain for the seafood sector. So we had speakers from India, US, and Norway in that webinar, and there's a recording available on our website, so we can check that out. I'm very happy that we're covering the other part of the project today that deals with utilizing the rest raw materials into value-added ingredients. Some other outcomes, there are 2 patent applications, both initiated by Dr. Nutan Kaushik from MIT University. We have also signed MOUs between universities in India and Norway. And there are 2 spin-off projects that came out of Revalue. We have Indy Plus project that looks at refrigeration, climate-friendly refrigeration systems, and also Omega project that again MIT University is involved in with Syntef. And like I said before, of course, we have built very strong networks for future collaboration in this project. That's all I had. Thank you for your attention. This is my contact information if anybody has any questions later on as well. The last picture from our physical meeting in Trondheim. Yes, in 2019. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to meet physically since then. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Next, we would like to invite Dr. Rasa Slide, Senior Research Scientist from Fintech Ocean, Norway, Dr. Rasa has over 16 years of research experience in working with various marine byproducts. Ma'am, we request you to present on restaurant material from surimi processing, valorization techniques.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. And I hope you can see my presentation. So I need confirmation, so someone should say everything okay. Okay, and so just someone should say if you cannot hear or something wrong with presentation, because really it's quite
Everything
difficult.
is perfect here. Everything is perfect.
Nice. So, okay, we'll hope that it will be till the end. Okay, so as Maitri mentioned, so in work package 2, in general product and in project, and in work package 2, we work with rest raw materials. So we try to stay with it's not byproducts and of course not waste. We look at this as rest raw, but it's materials we're working with from surimi processing, and we try to find technologies which we can use to process them and to extract valuable components. And as I said, it was work package 2, where we try to look for technologies where we can extract proteins, protein hydrolysates, and marine lipids. And I will tell a little bit later more. The main focus was proteins, hydrolysates, and gelatin. So this is protein ingredients. And we started, of course, it was divided in parts, and we started from chemical and microbial characterization of these rest raw materials in order to know what kind of raw material we're working with. And then we went for technological solutions, and we tried to see which is the best and optimal to work with. And in the end of this work package, we tried to stabilize this, up concentrate this raw material, this ingredients, because after all, they were used in work package 3, or in work package 3, we try to make products or ingredients for a market. And here you can see what kind of raw materials we were working with. And we had a lot of different raw materials. We had raw materials which were filleted and processed in Indian industry and sent to the Indian institutes. We had raw material which we sent to Norway, and it was processed and filleted at Sintef. And also we had raw materials which were bought and worked with in Spain. So we have different raw materials, and we worked with, and it was interesting to see how big difference is among them and what kind of technologies we can find which is common for all of these. And first of all, I need to see what it's a very small fish. If you see in weight and length, it's really small fish which is used for production of surimi. But if you look how much fillet or how much green pure protein we can extract from this fish, it's very small numbers. You see, it's only like 30% of 30% of fillet. And what is the rest? The rest is bones, skins, heads, viscera. It's rest raw materials. So we're dealing with huge amounts of raw material. And here, if we take here from the beginning, so we have very nice starting raw material to work with. This is raw material which had a lot of proteins, lipids, calcium, and all many other components which can be extracted and used. And when we looked into the chemical composition, so as you see, it's a lot of proteins. Dry material made mostly of proteins. And here, the lipids. Because in the project description, we thought that, okay, we will try to separate lipids and proteins and work with these two fractions. But as you can see, it's not so much lipids we have in this kind of raw material. Croaker, heads and viscera had a little bit protein, lipids, but it was too small amount to separate significant fraction to work with. So due to this, we decided to have more focus on proteins and produce as much as possible value-added ingredients from proteins. And then this numbers, first the table is presented from lab filleting. And the second one, the results from analysis which we done on raw materials which we received from industry. And as you see here, it's a little bit less proteins in rest raw materials. And I think one of the reasons is because we have a little bit different filleting or fractionation of fish when it comes to the lab and in industry. For sure, in industry, we have a little bit better and more efficient separation of muscles. But anyway, we still have significant part of proteins in rest raw materials, which can be processed and extract as pure and nice proteins. And when we looked for microbiological quality of these raw materials, the main thing was no pathogenic bacteria found in all fractions. But when we look for total count, it was a little bit high. Again, it's not so much regulation set for this rest raw materials, but when we look for regulations which describe fish products or products processed from fish as raw material, which we can compare these numbers, and we see that here, this total count is a little bit too high. So this is one point we need to work, because when we have not very high quality and also microbiological quality raw material, it's very difficult to produce something good. So it's really very important in the first stage to take care of raw material, because in sensitive raw material and both lipid can be oxidized, protein can be degraded, and of course microbes make big deal here. And as Maitri said, first work package, or in the beginning of the project, we tried to look in this whole chain, or in general chain, how raw materials from catching goes to the industry and what's happening with this raw material. And as you see here in pictures, we have a lot of manual work, and not always it's done in high hygienic conditions. And here it can be one of the reasons why we have this microbial quality not so good as we expected for good quality raw material, and of course temperature. In India, we have challenge, of course, when it comes to temperature. So these challenges should be worked with in order to increase quality and reduce number of microbes we have in raw material. But also, when we look into the Spanish raw material, we have very similar situation. Here, it's different number, but in general, if you look how much byproducts or rest raw materials we have, it's huge amounts. So more than half of fish ends as rest raw materials, but it's good for us when we have a lot of raw material to work with. And when we look into the chemical composition of this rest raw materials from Spanish fish, so again, we see that we have a lot of proteins. It's almost half of the dry material we have proteins. So again, here we decided to have more focus on proteins. Just few pictures from filleting, from lab work, and people involved here. As Maitri mentioned, we have 2 PhD students working in this work package, and we are generating a lot of interesting results. And one more fish, we're working at Syntef and filleted and try to find interesting and optimal technological solutions. So when it comes to technological solutions, we thought, first of all, we need to try with enzymatic hydrolysis. And always when we have new raw material, we're starting from screening. We try to find which technology is the most optimal. So for enzymatic screening, we mince raw material, add a little bit of water, and then add several different enzymes, perform enzymatic hydrolysis for 1 hour. And then after the inactivation, we have two protein-rich fraction hydrolysates and sediments, and when we worked with these two fractions. And when we have screening and use different enzymes, how to find which enzymes is most optimal. So first of all, we look for solubilization or hydrolyzation. So which enzyme gives the most of protein hydrolysates. And when you see here for different raw materials and for different enzymes, we have different best enzyme. So it was difficult to decide which we should focus on for further optimization. So we looked also for antioxidant activity, which enzymes gives the best antioxidant properties of hydrolysate. So again, you see different enzymes give different results, but the main result here is that we have this antioxidant properties. It's not so good as we can expect when we compare from propyl galates, which is known antioxidant, but we have, in addition to protein and good amino acid composition, we have antioxidant properties. So again, we take conclusion here, but went one more step. And I think it's very important to mention here that when we talk about proteins and hydrolysates, it's not only different functional and antioxidant properties we need to focus on, but also this is protein fraction and this is amino acids. And we always try to evaluate how good proteins we are producing. And we use this protein efficient ratio, which shows how much essential amino acids we have in comparison to other amino acids. And all our produced hydrolysates contain essential amino acids. And here, higher protein efficiency ratio indicating a higher value or more essential amino acids. And when you compare hydrolysates in blue with sediments in yellow, you can see that always sediments has a little bit better amino acids composition. So here it's also important to remember that we have two protein-rich fractions. They are very different when it comes to the composition and properties, but we should remember that we not only protein hydrolysates we can use in different products, but also sediment fraction can be used. And when you see, when we compare to the standard proteins, really our protein hydrolysates are on the same level as proteins from other sources. And it was decided that, okay, we choose alkalase as one of the best enzyme, or at least the best enzyme from our screening study. And when we use response surface methodology for optimize this technology, when we're using alkalase. And as you see here, I am not showing final results. I'm just showing the method we use because these data are under publication and our PhD students working with this. So this data will be published. Of course, you will have access. And another thing, as I said in the beginning, we try to focus on proteins. And again, one more thing, we have protein-rich fraction. It's wash water. It's wash water which contains quite high amount of proteins. And then industry needs to remove or to clean out these proteins. And as you see in initial concentration, what was 1.4 milligrams per milliliter of wash water, and actually regulation says what is the maximum amount you can have, and it's too high in order to move out for this water from the factory. So we need to remove somehow. And again, it was developed technology within this project, how to remove these proteins. And again, I'm not showing a lot of results, just the main trend. As you see, with using simple acids, it's possible to remove these proteins or up-concentrate these proteins. We have up-concentrated proteins and we have clean or almost clean water, which can be taken out from the factory. And here, it's also not so much results due to the patent. Our Indian partners, we applied for patent for this technology. So yeah, more results will be available later when all documentation is done. Again, one more thing, it's gelatin, as I mentioned. These raw materials are rich in collagen, gelatin, because it's skins and bones mostly. And due to this, we tried 4 published technologies or known technologies in order to extract gelatins. And as you can see, the outcome varies a lot. And of course, we decided to go further with technology which gives most of the gelatin. And again, the same methodology for optimize gelatin extraction. And as you can see, different temperatures, different time and pH can influence outcome or yield of the gelatin. And again, it will be published in the articles, and you can search for a best or for most optimal technology to extract gelatin from these raw materials. And as I mentioned in the beginning, when we produce all these ingredients, they're quite sensitive, or sometimes we have not what we can say it's by taste, because sometimes it has fish taste, fish smell, and we want to reduce this sometimes. So MIT was working with microencapsulation, and we use different warm materials to encapsulate these proteins. So in one way, we reduce a little bit taste and smell, and also we protect them in somehow. And when we looked for encapsulation efficiency, hydroscopicity, solubility, and bulk density, other properties, and the most optimal combination of different wall materials was obtained, and then this encapsulated material was used for production of different food products. Yes, as Maitri mentioned, it's a lot of number of deliverables, poster, reports, articles. It will be patents. So just mention some of these results are already published in open reports, so you can look for results. But a lot of results are coming, so I hope it will be published very soon, and you can look for these technologies developed in this project. And just to conclude, as you see, by producing surimi, which is very well known and demanded product in the market, we're producing huge amounts of raw materials. But it's a lot of possibilities here. We can produce oil. Okay, we are not focusing on oil in this project, but we can produce protein-rich fractions or products. So it's protein hydrolysate gelatin. And again, we can use quite simple and nice technologies to clarify, to clean processing water, which coming out from surimi processing plants. And we said in this project with microencapsulation of protein hydrolysates, it's really promising method, which gives stable product with desirable taste. So that's all for this work package for processing plants. So I think all our ingredients produced in this work package going to the next presentation, so you can see what we managed to produce from this raw materials.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now may I please request Dr. Nutan Kaushik to present on food delivered from surimi value products, soup and meatball.
Thank you, Khushbu and Dr. Rasa. I think it's speaker up. Thank you, Khushbu and Dr. Rasa. And now I will continue from where Dr. Rasa has left. So, but before I start give the food products which we have developed from it, showing your screen, Khushbu. Okay, fine. Sorry. I'll give you some stats about some kind of statistics about the potential of this rest, how much rest raw material we shall be producing, and how much proteins we can produce by using it. So I'll just give that kind of introduction to you. Can you see my screen? The presentation, I mean to say. Okay, thank you. So, I think I'll not give this introduction has already been given. So coming to the growth rate of the fish production, so it is highly the industry is flourishing is growing very well. It's both in terms of the marine as well as the inland fishery. But before, this is a state-wise fish production in India. I'm talking only about the India here at the moment. And if you really see this stats, Andhra Pradesh is the top state where has the highest fish production, followed by the West Bengal and the other states. So it's almost in more than 10, 15 states the fish production is taking happens, and this is the we are the second in inland fish production. If you can see the country wise, so in after just after China. So China is the topmost in inland fishery, and India occupies the second position. Similarly, in marine fish also, we are sixth after China, Indonesia, US, Russian Federation, Peru, and India stands the sixth in marine fish production. And this is the export to different countries, the export from India to different countries. If you really see, so it's the first position is occupied by the Japan in terms of the export. We are exporting mostly to the Japan, then to USA, and then third is the European Union. So European Union is the consumer of the fish which we are producing in India. That's why this Indo-European value chain is the project is happening. Now coming to the surimi, I think some of you may not be aware. So surimi is a traditional Japanese cuisine manufactured after repeated washing of the fish flesh and to remove the soluble proteins and other soluble components. And it is mostly used as a imitation meat. So surimi is a meat block, and it is used to create the different food products later on. So coming to the surimi production in the world, so this is the Europe is very small. So topmost production happens in Asia, followed by the USA and then the Europe. So in Asia also, we in 820 tons of the surimi was used as raw material for producing 2.7 million tons of the surimi based product. And China is the leading supplier of surimi with production of 1.2 million tons. The European Union is the main market for consumption of surimi based products, approximately 170 tons. So the main supplier of surimi to Europe is, as I already told, the USA is the topmost, and then the India is here in the grey color. It's this one 2.87 million ton is exported by India to the Europe. And these are the various fish which are used for surimi production in India. So pink perch, big eye, ribbon fish, lizard fish, croaker fish, barracuda, reef cod, bronze croaker. And these are the non-histamine producing fish. And in the histamine producing fish, sardine and mataharani. And pink perch is the main fish which is used because of it's a lean fish. So in surimi production, only those fish which has low fat are preferred, because fat is not fat containing fish are not preferred for the surimi production, because we have to remove the fat, so making the this fish. Yes. So pink perch is Nemipterus japonica, is a lean fish and used in cerebral production owing its white meat and high jelly strength. So plenty of rest of material, as Dr. Rasa also mentioned, that rest of material are generally the material which is left over after the production of the main product. And as she already mentioned that with head and viscera, frames, skin and bone, tails, fins, scales, mince, blood, up to 70% of the fish is left over. Only 30 to 50% of fish is used for production of the main product. So this is just a small statistics. 300 million ton surimi plant if we have the surimi plant, which has a production capacity of 300 metric tons per day kind of things. So it is producing around 300 metric tons of the dehydrated fish, and quantity of fish crushed is only 250 million tons. Then surimi produces only 100 metric tons. So 1/3 is produced, and the quantity of rest of material produced is 100 metric tons. So from around 50% of the fish of the capacity is produced as a rest of material. So this, as a thumb rule, you can just measure that 50. If the production capacity of a plant is 300 metric ton and if they are using it at full production capacity, then 50% of the material will be produced as rest of material. So in that rest of material, produce 100 metric ton, how much is the head and viscera, and how much is 32 metric tons is the surimi, and 3 metric tons is the fat, 5 metric tons is the scale, and around 20 metric tons is the skin and bones, and around 40 metric ton is the head and viscera. So coming to the head and viscera, around 100 TPD tons per day plant of the surimi plant will produce 140 ton of the head and viscera every day. That's kind of rest of material availability we have. And 100 ton per day is a very small plant. Mostly the plants contains 300 metric tons. So 40 metric ton of the head and viscera, if we convert into a different value-added product, what we are having in that 140 metric ton of head and viscera, 31 metric ton is the water, and 2.4 metric ton is the protein, then fat, minerals, and other materials. So in coming to the skin and bone, so 6 out of 10 tons per day product producing plant will produce 60 tons of the head and viscera. Sorry, this and this skin and bone will contain about 13 metric ton of the water, 2 metric ton of the protein, then fat and minerals and others. Then refiner waste is another waste which is produced by this one. This contains very high amount of the protein. And then wash water, Dr. Rasa already mentioned that it contains very high amount of the protein, because of which it cannot be recycled. So we have perfected, so this is the wash water. And distribution of the nutritional component, like how much is coming from, if we really see the distribution of the protein, so 2.4 metric ton is coming from this head and viscera, then 2 is from the wash water, and then 4.3 from the skin and bone. So this is the distribution of the nutritional component in different rest of material, and similarly the minerals, 2.8 in the head and viscera and 2 in the wash water. So these can be converted into different value-added products, like fish skin can be used for the collagen and gelatin extraction, viscera can be used for enzyme production, the bones for collagen and gelatin production, the head could be used for protein hydrolysate, omega-3 fatty acids, and mineral, depending upon the fish. Some fish, like the pink perch, is a lean fish, so it does not have much of oil. There are the other fish which has a lot of oil, and that can be used for production of omega-3 fatty acids. Then scales can be used for collagen and gelatin production, and then application, they are the various application of these byproducts of the rest of material. So so current utilization of the fish co-product, why this product came up is that this product came up because the current utilization is not up to the mark. Whatever the rest of material is produced, they are all being used for the low grade fish meal, that too of the low grade, and crude fish oil. The fish oil is just used for in the boat nails, for oiling of the nails. It is used. It does not have any other use. Then fish soluble paste is used as a fertilizer. So this is the percentage output currently, which is the current use. So soluble paste is about 4 metric ton, 70% is water, fish oil about 5 to 15, and fish meal around 21%. So this is the waste utilization plant where the rest of material is currently being produced. This is in Mangalore. We visited that plant, and then based on that, this report was prepared. Now, the fish meal also has been graded according to the protein content. The standard grade is 60%, then prime grade is 62%, super prime grade 68%, 65%, and premium grade is 68% protein content. And the price is paid according to the protein content, according to the grade. So currently, whatever the rest of material is having the standard grade, not even more than 60%. It's a very low grade fish meal is being produced out of it. So challenges and opportunities that few studies have been conducted on utilization of the product, few studies on the application of the green technologies, and gap in characterization of the surimi rest of material. Industry is looking for the cost-effective solution for removal of nitrogen from the wash water. With this background, this project was conceptualized, and then so this is the methodology which we followed: sample preparation, physicochemical characterization, microbial analysis, then the protein hydrolysate extraction, analysis of the protein hydrolysate, evaluation of its stability. So this part has already been then precipitation of the protein, characterization of the protein, and application of precipitated protein into treated water. So this was, so now coming to this, Dr. Rasa already presented how we have utilized this rest of material production of the protein hydrolysate and gelatin extraction. Now, the quality of this protein hydrolysate and the gelatin extraction is the high quality, which can be used for the food production of the food, not for production of the fish meal. Fish meal is a low grade application, while food is a high grade application. So, so this is the in WP3, which I was the coordinator for the WP3. Dr. Rasa was the coordinator for WP2, where this rest of material validation was happening. So this is the characterization of the gelatin. So I'll now hand over to Khushbu to present the results of the WP3. Over to you, Khushbu.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
So we had extracted gelatin from skin and bones of fish, and these are the approximate analysis. Protein content was estimated up to the 89%. Moisture content was approximately 4.7%. Fat content, considering that pink perch is a lean fish, it was low in fat content, that is 0.13, and ash content was 2.56. That was into the range that was being prescribed by FSSAI for food development. Now we have water holding capacity. We also estimated water holding capacity and fat binding capacity of gelatin. The water holding capacity of pink perch gelatin at optimized condition was 207%, and which was significantly higher than that obtained with bovine gelatin. And fat binding capacity of optimized gelatin was also observed to be higher than bovine gelatin. These are important properties while determining the usage of gelatin or the kind of textural and functional properties that it will be imparting towards the food. Next slide. And next we have determined the foaming capacity and the foaming stability of gelatin. Here we can see that foaming capacity of pink perch gelatin was somewhere in the range of 8 to 15%, and for bovine gelatin it was in the range of 7 to 18%. We also tried to analyze the effect of concentration on the foaming capacity and foaming stability. And as it is quite visible from the graph that with the increase in concentration, the foaming capacity as well as the foaming stability increased in both pink perch gelatin and bovine gelatin. And results of that obtained of pink perch gelatin was quite similar to that of bovine gelatin that are available in the market. Next slide. Next we try to analyze the emulsification activity of both the gelatins. Here, however, we found that emulsification activity of bovine gelatin is much higher than obtained of pink perch gelatin. And here also we tried to study the effective concentration of gelatin on emulsification activity and emulsification stability. In emulsification activity, we can see that as we go on increasing the concentration, the activity decreases. However, that in stability part, as increase in the concentration, the emulsification stability increases. Next slide, please. Next, we try to analyze the color of both gelatin, pink perch gelatin and bovine gelatin. So the color of gelatin are expressed in terms of L, lightness, A, redness / greenness, B, yellowness and blueness. And as you can say that for pink perch gelatin, we have a higher L value that indicates the color of the pink bud gelatin was closer towards white, since L value for white is approximately 100. So this indicates that color was almost whitish. Next slide. And then we also try to analyze the bulk and tap density. This enables us to understand the behavior of the powder, gelatin powder that we have manufactured. And we estimated the bulk, and we can see that the results were quite comparable to bovine gelatin that are available in the market. Both of them have excellent flowabilities. Next slide, please. So for food product development, I tried developing chicken meatballs and incorporated various concentrations of gelatin into the meatballs and compared it with that available in the market. For control, I had meatballs prepared without gelatin, and for pink pearl gelatin, the range was chosen to be between 3 and 6, depending upon the literature's values. The major components was chicken meat. And then as binder, we have used roasted black gram. As starch component, we have used potato starch. We have blanched carrot and capsicum and chopped into small parts and incorporated. For spices mix, we have used proper Indian spices, made it for a very spicy palate. And for that, we have added all the spices that we use. And for control meat, I have used vegetable oil. However, I haven't used any sort of oil in the one incorporated with gelatin. These are the pictures of, it was a part of preliminary testing that we have conducted. This was a visual appearance, and these are control on the extreme left. You can see that is a control meatball prepared from without use of any gelatin and oil incorporated. And these are the various range of pink pearl gelatin. Following, you can see the yield of meatball achieved, and you can see that yield of all the meatballs that are achieved from gelatin and control was comparable to that of available from commercial meatballs. Here is the moisture approximate analysis, and we can see that moisture content in all the meatballs range from 60 to 65%. The fat content was high in the control meatball. Of course, we have incorporated fat, and the fat content was high in the commercial meatballs. However, there was a lower fat content that was reported in the one incorporated with gelatin. But we can see that there is a gradual increase in fat content with the increase in gelatin content that can be explained with the fact that gelatin does have a fat binding capacity. And then this is an ash content. Next slide. I have also tested the meatballs for its moisture retaining capacity. And I have found that incorporation of gelatin positively affects the moisture retention capacity. As you can see, the control has the least amount of moisture retention as compared to that of 6% gelatin. And our results were comparable to that of commercial meatballs. Now, for the primary, among all the variants that we have tried and tested, in order to take things forward, we have first of all tried to have a sensory evaluation conducted. For sensory evaluation, we have a panel of 30 semi-trained panelists, and they all were given all the meatballs, and they were analyzed on parameters like appearance, texture, smell, and overall acceptability. Following are the results of sensory evaluation. So 6 types of variants were given, and the most from ANOVA that have been conducted on the overall acceptability of the meatball. And in overall acceptability, we found out that there is a significant difference between all the acceptability of all the different meatballs. And on conducting DMRT, it was concluded that meatball containing 5% fish gelatin had an equivalent overall acceptability to that of commercial meatballs. Next slide. These are the, then after conducting sensory evaluation, we chose 5% gelatin meatballs and commercial meatballs and blank meatballs and carry forward towards the shelf life analysis. The shelf life analysis was conducted at 4 degrees Celsius, that is a chilling temperature, and following other results. First of all, we try to analyze the free fatty acid content. Free fatty acid content in TBARS, both are the indicative of oxidation that is happening during the course of shelf life. And we can see that free fatty acid content was increasing. However, the least increase was indicated in the one containing fish gelatin. A similar trend was obtained in a TBARS. Then I have analyzed the pH values and water holding capacity. So then results for soup.
Okay. Thank you. I'll just quickly go through the results of the soup samples. So these are the different components which are used for preparation of the soup. And then we had the blank soup, the fish powder based soup, the protein hydrolysate based soup, and then micro encapsulated soup. So this is the approximate composition of this soup. And then this fish powder commercial had the fat content, high fat content as compared to our protein hydrolysate based soup. So this is the viscosity of the soup. So the viscosity of this vegetable soup was the highest, and our micro encapsulated soup was quite okay. There's a free fatty acid composition, acceptable, all acceptable. Then this is the blank soup solubility, also was quite good, up to 40% solubility. Of the this micro encapsulated protein solubility is supposed to be low because we had done this micro encapsulation and they're supposed to be soluble in this one. The shelf life of different soup was studied at 40 degrees centigrade and 75 degrees accelerated storage condition. So this is the TMA analysis during the storage. This you can see the protein hydrolysate. This is the micro encapsulated. Encapsulated, the TMA was low as compared to the non-micro encapsulated protein hydrolysate. So this way we were able to mark the fishy odor layer. This is the indicator of the fishy odor. Then this is the T-bar value, and according to these T-bar values, this is done by the volumetric analysis, the spectrophotometric analysis. So these values comes high, but if we do by the same analysis by HPLC, the value will come in the range of 2 to 2 less than 2. So these are our acceptable value if we analyze by the spectrophotometer. And this is the microbial analysis. Since this was done under the what you call not under this aseptic condition, so this product was found stable up to 9 days, and 1 day is equivalent to 4 days. So this up to 36 days, more than a month kind of thing. So this is the pH during the storage, and then so with this, thank you. So I would like to conclude that the protein hydrolysate and the gelatin which is produced by using the rest raw material, the head and viscera and the skin and bone, can be successfully employed for production of the food, high quality food products. So this is the conclusion. So we don't have to compromise by just using this rest of material by producing the low quality fish feed. So when we produce a protein hydrolysate, we get 3 layers. One layer we are using for production of the high food quality. The second layer, next layer, which contains about 68% protein, can be used for the fish feed production. And the third layer, which also contains good amount quantity of that can be used for the fertilizer production. This is how we are trying to use this. So 1/3 is going for the high quality food production. Third portion is going for the feed production, and the last third production is going for the fertilizer production. So not everything is going for the fish feed production. So we are utilizing it into 3 kind of applications. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Next with us, we have Dr. Arvind Kalea, Senior Project Manager from Carenza, Spain. Sir, I would humbly request you to share your presentation on food products derived from Revalue products, burger and nuggets.
Okay, good morning and afternoon for everyone. Thanks for inviting me to this very nice workshop.
Sir, you are not audible.
Sorry.
Sir, you are audible, sir. You are audible.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can. Just put a presentation mode.
We'll try to enlarge it a little bit, but this has some risk of going to the wrong screen, but I will
Just
try.
put in a presentation, slideshow view.
Can you see this, the presentation? No.
So not on the slide show.
Okay, that one maybe. Okay. Well, I will present a little bit the work made in Work Package 3, which was using the results from the valorization in Work Package 2 for making products. And from the Spanish side, as you will see, we have prepared burgers and nuggets from these hydrolysates. But first, let me say a few words about the company so everyone knows who we are and what we do. We are a SME Spanish company, which is placed 15 kilometers. Yes?
Put it on slideshow. I'm sorry, it was on slideshow when Khushbu observed it. Yeah, sorry.
Is this better?
Yeah, it's better now. Thank you.
Sorry, because I have two screens. Sorry. Okay. So we are like 150 people here only in Barcelona, but we have some subsidiaries. We are working in both fragrances and flavors, so not just for food. And our sectors, we work in food and feed, detergency, air fresheners, cosmetics, and so on. And we are certified for the most important norms applicable. So we are really internationalized. We are in the north of Africa. We are in Latam. We are also in Turkey. We are in many countries in the world. And just to figure out, for you to figure out what we do, there, for instance, there are lots of products which contain strawberry. But actually, if you had to produce the flavor for the strawberry, for all these products we are producing in the world, we would need like 3 times the surface of the earth. So we need chemistry, we need to prepare it because the flavor content in these natural products is very low. So you need to prepare it in another way. So this is an example of what we do. And of course, the product has to be personalized for each application. So as I said before, we are established in more than 30 countries. We are exporting to more than 56 countries in the world. And so we can state that we are present in 4 out of the 5 continents in the world. We are very intensive in R&D activity, but we are not doing this alone, but we are also supporting us what we call ecosystem. In this ecosystem, you can see, for instance, LATAT, which has given support to us in this Revalue project. So I would like to acknowledge their effort. They have done a very good job. And okay, going to the results of the project, what maybe is most interesting for everyone. This is just a scheme of what we are doing in this work package. We are taking the RRM from fish, in this case, pink perch mostly from India through Norway. It has been difficult to get them, but we finally achieved this. Okay, this has some protein contents as commented previously, and then we make enzymatic hydrolysis to split down these proteins into small peptides or free amino acids. And then this product is microencapsulated by spray drying, okay? And from this, we prepare by mixing what we call a base powder preparation, which is like some kind of flour, some kind of powder, which is used for preparing other food matrices. Okay, our main strength is to flavor this product. This product has the flavors and another components to give flavor to other products. In this case, In these projects, we talk about introducing them in meat matrices, mostly for fortifying the protein content. Okay. So this is just some flashes of what we have done in the scale up. We have taken the RRM from croaker fish in this case, both viscera and a mixture of viscera and heads coming from Norway. Okay, we have grinded them, and then we have performed some hydrolysis, some enzymatic hydrolysis with the best formula we got from Work Package 2 in collaboration with LATAT. And then we got this product, this brown product you see here on the left, which is the as hydrolyzed product. This has been filtered and then centrifuged and filtered. And then you see the clarified product having the what we could say the solubilized protein, which is a little bit different in color, as you can see. And then this liquid containing the proteins is spray dried together with some components, with some carriers and some emulsifiers. And then we got this white powdery product, which is used for the mixture and for preparing the base powder. Of course, there has been a characterization of this hydrolysate in terms of size distribution of the peptides after the hydrolysis, take into account that two different enzymes have been used, endo and exo peptidase, okay? And in this case, we see that we have the higher contents below, let's say, 50 kilodaltons, with some small fraction above that. The ashes and the organic matter and the protein content has been determined, as well as the antioxidant activity expressed in millimoles of Trolox per liter of extract. And you can see that there is antioxidant activity, as has been previously commented here. And of course, we have taken out also the aminograms from these fractions, which gives some enrichment in 4 out of the total amino acids. For instance, hydroxyproline or proline or alanine, I think, what you can see in these graphs. Unfortunately, we also studied the antimicrobial activity, which was also an objective of the project, but the answer is negative. We don't see any inhibition in this case. Okay. Okay. Anyway, the bacterial or the microbiological charge of these products is good, and it conforms to the norms, so it can be used downstream. And here you can see how we have proceeded to prepare the prototypes in this project. We have made a strong effort in flavor design and formulation, because it's important in this case to mask the smell and the taste of fish, of this hydrolysis, which is quite strong, in order to introduce it in the meat matrices. So once we have the best flavor, then we need to encapsulate only the flavor in a first step. And then we use this product together with other products to make 25 kilo batches with all the components there, including flavors, including bulk agents, including emulsifiers, including everything. And then we perform this like 10 times with some repetitions. And we look at the processability and the organoleptic analysis of these powders. Okay. And from this, we use this for making some prototypes of burgers and nuggets, which you can see here. In particular, we have studied a veal burger. Remember that our aim is to fortify this with proteins from the hydrolysate, and to match, because anyone eating this veal burger won't like to have fish related smells, of course, or flavors. And then on the other side, we have worked with chicken nuggets, as you can see here. Sorry for not presenting nutritional and organoleptic analysis, but most of the people here is on holidays still. and our department has not been able to give us this information, but it will be done in short, and I will share with you. Okay. And that's all for this part. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir. Next in session, we have Dr. Revalue, Senior Research Scientist from Syntec Ocean, Norway. Dr. Revalue has a vast experience in working with marine coastal processing. May I please request you, ma'am, to share her notes on the regulation on the use and restaurant material from seafood processing.
Yes, thank you for very nice introduction. I tried to share my presentation. It goes fast. I see. Yes. Yes. So thanks for very nice actually presentations. And probably everybody now understands that the restaurant materials, they really have high potential to be used for different applications. And in Revalue project, we also were taking a look at the regulations, because it's very good that we can use those raw materials for different applications, but what are the regulations? And one of the deliverables, it was to write a review about the regulations on the use of restaurant materials from the seafood processing in EU and India. And we wanted to review all those regulations, starting from the restaurant material, how we have to handle, how we can process to the final product that can be used for food and feed application, and review focused on the legislations adopted by the EU countries, also national legislations in Norway and in India. And in this presentation, I will present only the main outcomes, or the main thoughts, that we came writing this review. But more detailed discussions you can find in this report. You can see on the screen how it looks, and also you can find it in internet. And also you see the authors of this report. So we are cooperating, all the partners, in order to write this report regarding the regulation. And it's not so easy, I want to say. Yes, so regulations in EU related to the handling of animal restaurant materials or byproducts, they are harmonized within the European Union, and they should be the same in all European Union countries. But Norway is not an EU country, but it belongs to this European economy area, and therefore the rules from the EU, they must be transported into the Norwegian law, and then they became applicable in Norway. So today also we already heard discussion, okay, so those parts that we get after the filleting of fish, are they restaurant materials, are they byproducts, which terminology we have to use. So I want actually to start my presentation with discussion about this terminology. So fish, if it's going to be used for human consumption, usually it is caught by the fishing vessels that are approved, and they enter the slaughterhouse or fish processing factory, and usually the fish is filleted under the hygienic rules that later you can use this fillet for human consumption, and we get those heads, bones, and skin. And if we handle this restaurant material, and if we process this restaurant material according to the food law regulations, so then it is those restaurant materials, they can be used directly for human consumption, or they can be processed into the ingredients for human consumption. But if for one or another reason, we in the factory or the producers, they categorize or classify those restaurant materials as byproducts, so then somehow it is taken that it is a little bit lower quality. It is not intended for human consumption. So then byproducts you can use in the best case for feed application and for other uses. So if we want to use this restaurant material for food application, so it should be behaved, or it should be handled as a food. If we don't intend for food, so then we can see that, okay, we are working with byproducts, and then we have to follow definitely the regulations for byproducts or for feed processing. So yes, if we want to process food, so then this restaurant material handling and processing should follow, at least in EU countries, three main regulations that you can see on the screen. It is hygiene for foodstuff, it is microbiological criteria for foodstuff, and maximum level for contaminants in food, for foodstuff. In India also we have food safety and standard authorities, and they made regulations for different food products, including the fish and fish products. And here you can find the regulations that you have to follow if you want to produce food products. So now I want a little bit to go what those regulations are talking about, you know. Yeah, so first, hygiene for foodstuff. So in this regulation, it is quite a big document, I want to say. So in this regulation, it is written different hygienic requirements for different food categories. And also you have definitely one category that is fish and fish products. And here you have the description of the hygienic requirements, you know, starting from the fishing vessels, processing plants, how you have to process the final product, how you have to pack it and transport it in order that you say, yes, it is food grade product. Also, another regulation which is very important is this microbiological criteria for foodstuff. And in this regulation, we have all those maximum level for different foodborne bacteria that those authorities decided that, okay, those are really important, you know, to assure that this product is human grade quality. So producers, they have to use, you know, this handling and processing technologies that they will assure that, okay, those hygienic rules are followed, and also the microbiological criteria follows through the whole processing chain, you know. And to do this, most of the countries, they implemented this safety control system, this HACCP program, which actually can help the producer, you know, to identify and control the most critical, you know, points during the production, that you can assure that, or producer can assure that this product, it is human grade. And definitely different countries, they have those national authorities that they will help to implement this this control system, and also that they check actually that the producers or processing plants, they are following, you know, this control system. So if we start from the beginning, you know, if we want to say that, okay, this restaurant material, it is food grade quality, because remember in Ras's presentation, it was interesting discussion, you know, is it still can be used, you know, this restaurant material, if you have this total microbiological count 10 to the 6 or not. So if we take a look for fish restaurant material, so it's very important that this raw material will not exceed the maximum level of this total volatile nitrogen. Also histidine value, it's very important, and it's a little bit different for different kind of fish species. And also microbiological, definitely criteria is very important. And we see that in EU countries, you know, for fresh or frozen fish, so it should not exceed 10 to the 5th. So actually, if you know, if you measure 10 to the 6th, so this raw material cannot be used for human consumption. And also when we were checking the regulations in EU and in India, so actually they are very similar, you know. So it's very important that the raw material, you know, should fulfill the requirement for human grade, you know, in order to say that, okay, this restaurant material is food grade and later can be processed into food grade products. Also, we heard in the presentations that actually it's very huge potential to process those restaurant materials, especially those restaurant materials that we have from the surimi processing or in surimi processing factories that can be produced. So this fish protein powders, it is really quite interesting ingredient that can be processed from those restaurant materials. So then we were taking a look, okay, so what kind of regulations or what kind of requirements we have for fish protein powders. And then we came into a little bit difficult situation, or not difficult situation, not challenging, at least for me. You know that in those at least hygienic requirements and microbiological requirements, in those, you remember those regulations, you don't have category, you know, fish protein powders. So And I was talking with at least Norwegian food safety authorities, so I said, okay, so how you have to know what kind of requirements you have for fish protein powders. And then they said that, okay, you have to use those regulations as a guidelines, and producer is responsible, to assure that, okay, this product is food grade quality. And in those, for example, microbiological guidelines, you have, category powder supplementary mixtures. So also, so this can be taken, as a guideline to set up for your product, what kind of limits for different microbes you should not exceed, and therefore you will be then assured that, okay, your protein powder is food grade quality. Also, we have requirements for milk and whey protein powders. But even though for me it was a little bit difficult, to make a conclusion, but we have products. We have already fish protein powders in the market. So then we were discussing with the RASA, and we took some examples in this report, from the product info that actually producer is giving, and here you can see also on the bottom of the screen, what kind of microbial profile producer says that, okay, this and this microbes, we are sure that it will be lower limit than you see in this specification. And actually it's fulfilled those actually guidelines that you can find, yes, for those protein supplementary mixtures or milk protein powders. But even though for me, it was conclusion that it's not like straightforward, and probably producers, they have to discuss, very tight with the national food safety authorities. Also in India, it was very interesting in this fish and fish products food safety and standard regulation. Actually, you have a category, edible fish powders. And in this regulation, it stands, what kind of fish can be used or not used to make those edible fish protein powders, So this was interesting. Also, you have some guidelines, what kind of nutritional requirements should fulfill fish protein powders. And it was interesting that, for example, protein amount should not be less than 65%, but probably it's natural because, if you have not so much proteins in the protein powder, so probably it's not a protein powder, it's something else. Also, if you think about microbiological limits, so here you see the table, this on the bottom, and you see you have the regulations for accelerated freeze-dried fishery products. And maybe those protein powders actually, they go into this category. And you see actually this total aerobic count was 10 to the 4th, the upper limit. And if you remember in this previous slide where we added some examples from the fish protein powders that you can at least buy in Europe. So actually also they said that, okay, their product has the limit for the total microbiological count 10 to the 4th. So actually you see that, it is not easy to make, but actually it after that, it fits to the requirements that you can find in the regulations. Another product that we already also had is food grade gelatin that can be or has potential to be produced at least from fish skins. And again, if we want to produce food grade gelatin, so first of all, we have to use the raw material that would fulfill the requirements of the regulations that are those hygienic and microbiological for the food grade raw materials. Also, processing should be done according to the food hygiene regulations for the processing of food. And when we think about final products, so actually you have this gelatin category, at least in EU regulations, in those microbiological regulations and in hygiene regulations. So it is special category for gelatin, and here you can find, what kind of total microbiological count be and other foodborne bacteria. So what is the maximum limit of them? Also, Rasa maybe didn't show the exact technology that can be used to extract gelatin, but in general, you maybe need to use some acid, some sodium hydroxide, to extract the gelatin or to process the raw material to extract the gelatin. And they are approved to be used for processing food grade products. Also, if you need to use ethanol, for example, to remove some lipids from the gelatin, if you use, for example, fatty fish to produce the gelatin, so also it is approved solvent to make food products. So actually, because gelatin is already product in the market, so we can find clear regulations for the gelatin production. But also, if somehow, as I said in the beginning of the presentation, we say that, okay, those rest raw materials actually are byproducts, and we want to use them not for human consumption, but for other applications like feed. So then also we have to know that byproducts, they are divided into the categories. Also, we have byproduct regulation, at least in here you see those numbers, 1069, 142 regulation. And here it stands, how byproducts are classified into the categories, and only category 3 can be used for feed production. And also, if you see how it's described, this category 3, so actually it should be quite good quality, so you cannot produce from whatever quality byproduct. So it says that raw material, it should be still be good quality, but for one or another reason, it's not intended for human consumption. Also, we have regulations how we can process those byproducts into the feed ingredients or into the feed. We can process them only into the approved plants, processing plants, and they are also divided in different categories. If you have a processing plant, or if you have hydrolyzed processing plant, and you can imagine that most probably in processing plant you produce fish meal. In the hydrolyzed protein plants, you can hydrolyze proteins, you can produce hydrolysis that can be used also for feed application. Also, in this byproduct regulation, it stands that you cannot use byproducts for animal or farm fish feed or from the same species. So we cannot feed, salmon using the byproducts from salmon processing. But for example, pure fish oil, if it doesn't contain proteins, so you can actually use in the feed for the same species. So actually the salmon oil can be used in feed for salmon feed. But it should contain no protein. So the producer should be able to assure that, okay, no proteins in the oil. But also another very interesting, if the proteins, they are sufficiently hydrolyzed, so actually the species problem it's not applied. So if you hydrolyze really good, you have those proteins hydrolysis lower than 10,000 daltons, so then this species regulation is not applied. What is the situation in India? So you have special also standards, and not for byproducts. Byproduct is not like special standard in India, but you have standards for fish meal production. And in this standard, it's written, okay, what kind of raw material can be used. Also, it stands regulations what kind of requirements, for microbial quality you have for the raw material that can be processed into the feed ingredients. So you cannot again process whatever quality byproducts to the feed. So they should fill the requirements. And yes, so we have regulations. If this Revalue project focused on the use of rest raw materials for the food and feed applications, so we have most of the regulations and requirements, but definitely sometimes it's not so easy, to make the right conclusions, what kind of quality requirement should fulfill your product, because the biggest requirement or the most important that, okay, you have to assure that your product is food quality. So concluding, I will go very fast, that, okay, if the product is intended for human consumption, so then the raw material, its handling and processing, it should fulfill those food safety requirements through the whole value chain. And also we observed that we have very similar, if we start from the raw material, we have very similar requirements for the unprocessed fish products, both in AU and India. Also, there are no special regulations for fish protein hydrolysis or powders, at least in AU, so we don't have the special category in those hygiene and microbial regulations, but we have to use those regulations as a guideline to set up, your product quality in order that you can assure that it is food grade quality. So it's not so easy, but at least this information I got from the Norwegian Food Safety Authorities. And yes, in AU you have you have special regulations for byproducts, and here it stands, what kind of categories byproducts are divided into, and also how they can be processed for different applications. But in India, you don't have special regulations for byproducts, but you have regulations for the fish meal production. So if you think, to use, at least my thoughts was, if you think to use hydrolysis to make fish feed ingredients, so then, yeah, probably have really to cooperate tight with the authorities, really to get approved your processing technology and so on. Yes, so it was the last that both in India and AU, you cannot produce, where you want to produce and to use whatever technology you want to use, you have to get approved by authorities. Yeah, so I hope I gave clear outcomes from our review about regulations, and I said a little bit more detailed discussion you can find in this report that it's available in internet. But if you have some questions, you can, or suggestions, or some remarks, so just please contact me. I will be really glad to discuss this with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, may I please request Dr. Alberto to share his findings on market studies of fresh raw material based on food products.
Okay. Can everyone see?
Yes, sir.
Okay. From Karin's side, we'll show some of the results we have obtained regarding some market studies about the products you can do with this RRM from surimi industry. This was worked out in the Work Package 4. Okay, what have we done here? Okay, in collaboration with Amity University, we have conducted some questionnaires, both at Spain and at India. So two separate surveys, let's say. The India one was with 53 people from 20 to 35 years old in age, and Spain was like 138 people between 20 and 60 years in age. So the focus of this survey report was on 4 different topics. One aimed at ascertaining the preferences of these consumers which consume fish. The other is which is the consumption pattern, so what they are doing at the moment. Thirdly, the protein supplements they're using. And then in the 4th place, there's also some questions about pet food, which is also included as a product of these proteins, of these circularly economy proteins. So there's a report which was finished in 2020. So I will give some shots of different aspects of this survey. Okay, just briefly. So for instance, this slide shows which is the preferred products both in India and Spain. From India, the most preferred products were fish nuggets, then fish sauce, and in 3rd place, fish soap, okay, and some others. While in Spain, the most preferred one was eels. Well, eels is a very luxury and expensive product not used regularly, only maybe at Christmas, okay? But better observe these fish sticks. Fish sticks are most commonly used, preferred, then fish soap, and then fish nuggets. The yields is because they are very tasty and they are very, very appreciated in Spain. Well, regarding the knowledge about fish products, the survey conducted by Amity shows that the knowledge about products from fish in general is less than half. So most of the people doesn't have a high degree of knowledge about the origin and what the fish products contain. And from these who responded that they had knowledge about fish products, they asked if they had knowledge about fish byproducts containing these items. And the answer is that most of 60% of the people didn't know much about the use of byproducts inside this category of food. Okay. While the survey conducted here in Carinza, we made some very long questionnaire of questions, but it follows also the same trend. People doesn't in general know very much about the origin of fish, and in particular of RRM products. So there's room for improvement, let's say, from the marketing point of view. This slide tries to show which is the status about the nutritional supplements. For instance, many people making sports, they consume these kind of protein supplements for gaining muscle mass, for instance. And in the Amity University, they conducted some survey about which brands were most known. There's a plurality of them. Maybe this On one is the most popular, while most of the people doesn't answer or doesn't know this question. Which is the most preferred form of protein supplement? This is very important. Okay, in India, it seems that the powder form is most popular and most preferred. Okay, in second place would be the capsule, and in third place would be the tablet, with more or less 1/10 of the people answering in that direction. While in Spain, also powder is the most, powders and bars is most preferred for these supplements. And the most important thing is price, and it doesn't really, they prefer supplements coming from a plant source. They are aiming more at plant than meat or fish. This is what they say, okay? And finally, regarding the preferences and the knowledge of the market about feed for pets, for cats, for dogs, for hamsters, for rabbits, or whatever you can think about, or the sort of the questionnaires we're talking about. In Amity, we can say that half of the people is already satisfied what they can get from the market. And it shows good acceptability of using fish byproducts in this pet food. So this is good news. And while in Spain, people claim that they were already satisfied with the feed. I don't know if this is a consequence of poor knowledge of high knowledge. I don't know, or the high quality. I don't know, but the question is that they say that they are satisfied, and it shows a 70% result of acceptance of the. Oh, this is a little bit contradictory. I see now. I don't know. This is bad. This is badly written. I think this is the satisfaction in general, and this is the use of fish products in this pet food, which is 70%. Sorry for that. This is a mistake. And just to finish, let me say that there's a growing trend in adding fish ingredients, even in meat matrices like sausages or ham or even cuts of York or lancioni, mortadella, salami, whatever. So we see in Spain a lot of high trend in using these fish components inside, even in meat products. So this is a very good opportunity to use these RRM products we have made in this project to be fitted in these products and enlarging the market available for this. Okay, and that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, may I please request Dr. Rasa to kindly moderate the next session regarding future plans and discussion.
Okay, I see we're finished when it comes to time. So we're running a little bit out of time. So I don't know, maybe it's easier if I have very short presentation. So I think, first of all, I would like to show this presentation, future plans and cooperation. So back to the project we're finishing now. So as Maitri showed in the beginning, we tried to start from raw material and we looked what is possibilities, what is the challenges, and we identified several challenges, several areas where we can cooperate. And if you remember, it was work package looking for cold chain management. And while we're working in this Revalue project, we managed to get one spin-off project out of this, because we identify with this a lot of common issues we can work with. And out of this, one project, Future Refrigerator India, was financed and started this year. It will last for 3 years. And also one more project, Omega, came out of the work package 2, 3, and 4, where we're looking for ingredients which can be extracted from marine restaurant materials and how we can be microencapsulated and used in different products. So I think here it was a very good example of how it's important to be known of each other. And it's very important when the students are sent to both countries, when we learn new methods, we introduce to the systems, and also researchers, when we're visiting each other, we're visiting industries, and then it's easy to understand where we have common issues, where we have knowledges, and where we can learn from each other. So it's really very satisfied with during this project. It's not finished. We already have 2 more projects to work. But as we were talking in the beginning, we shouldn't stop. It's still a lot of interesting work and still interesting challenges we can solve together. But of course, always when we're talking about research and also industrial applications, it's important to know where we can get finances for this. And I took some slides from our webinar, which we had several months ago. And this is Councillor Man Sidus, which presented this. He's working in Royal Norwegian Embassy in India, and he showed the possibilities. So the 3 main financing tools we can use when it comes to Norwegian research for financing from the Norwegian part. This is the Research Council of Norway, which finance research and innovation cooperation with several countries. And also we have DICO, where we can finance higher education is more for students, and also Innovation Norway. This is a financing mechanism which can be used more for industrial applications. So it's 3 big tools we can use. And again, we need to look what priority areas it's financed in both countries. And when we look into the document Norway India to 2030, we see that it's many areas which stands in priority list. It's the areas we're working with. This is the oceans, energy, climate, and environment, this and also global health. This is all all topics we were working in this project. So we have possibilities, and this is defined as priorities. Also, when we look for Norwegian government priority areas for long-term plan for research and higher education, again, we see seas and ocean, we see climate, environment, and clean energy. So it's a lot of possibilities, and looks at everything we're working and what we are presenting today. It's really prioritized in both countries. So it's a lot of possibilities for us. And of course, we need to look for a calls, but it was presented quite many lines here. And if you see, it's some discussions, some open discussions where we can influence topics. So it's important when we're very active, when we're following what's happening both in governmental levels and also in education levels. And it's again, it's a lot of calls and programs, and we're announcing some of them. They have ongoing calls which we can apply, but also sometimes we announce calls which we can apply. So I think it's a lot of possibilities. It's very important when we know each other now, and really I see a lot of possibilities. So this is very short introduction. So I don't know, Nutan and Kushbu, you can manage this now. So I don't know, do we have time, or yeah, I can ask maybe someone have ideas. And
I think we can have some quick questions. We have gone for another 10 minutes. If everybody agrees, then is it okay?
yes, it's okay for me.
Okay, fine. So if anybody has some questions related to the how to proceed with the collaboration and all that, or related to this project, or some questions related to the future of this project, or some question related to if they really want to do cooperation in some of the area. Now you know how the things are happening. And Dr. Rasa also presented like different things, like how to. So you may quickly put up in the chat box or just raise your hand, and then probably I can then quickly go through this one. Okay, so Rasa, I have a question to you. Okay, we have got to spin-off project. That's very nice and good thing. But do you think like how to take this project result forward, like and apply in other things, like because head and Visra is coming not only from this, whether it's from the big purge or from other way, a lot of work has already been done in the literature. So how do we like take forward in the bioactive peptides found?
Yeah, I think it's very important because, as you said, it's a lot of is done on the research level, and it's very important to go and to present this to industry. And I think Norway is a little bit in better position when it comes to implementation, because in Norway we have several industries or several plants working with the utilization of rest raw materials, and we are producing a lot of oil. Oil is very known ingredient which is extracted from rest raw material, marine rest raw materials, but proteins also coming. It's yeah, as we discussed in the project, it's still a lot of challenges. But I think it's very important to involve more and more industry. I don't know, I think in India, you have a little bit different way of working, but in Norway, we have really a lot of projects where we have industry involved. So sometimes we invite industry when we have interesting results, but we also feel that sometimes industry coming to us with the challenges. So I think, and especially when we have students and PhD students, it's really high level, I think we can present for industry, and I feel that really we need to have more and active cooperation with industry.
May I ask, like, is it the industry who gives the problem, or is it the scientist who goes to the industry with the problem?
It's both. It's really both. And then, for example, yeah, of course, maybe if industry doesn't know you, so it's very difficult to come to you. So I think first of all, you should show what are you doing. And I think when we were visiting in India, several industries, so it's very important that we understand how we work with, we can come with a challenge and we can help, because you have knowledge as also we have knowledge, we have technologies, we have analysis methods, analysis techniques. So I think it's, but as you said, in Norway, we already have this both ways cooperation. So I think in India, it would be also very nice to show you, first of all, and yeah, but I think we have like interesting, for example,
then I can go to the industry, Spanish industry, Dr. Alberto. Alberto, as an industry, what do you expect from the institutions? Like what type of support you are ready to give to the institution, and what type of problem do you think the institutions can solve for you? Because you also have in-house R&D. So do you think that the in-house R&D is better than the R&D of the institutions, or do you really think that the PhD scholars, they do contribute in the quality of the innovations? Yeah.
Well, what I can say from the point of view of R&D here is that, of course, protein extraction from different sources, from sustainable sources, is a hot topic at the moment. So every source that can really inject new proteins in the consumer cycle without destroying the resources and being sustainable is very welcome even by authorities here, or funding agencies, and of course the market is also very receptive to new products. Lots of new products are being launched last years, which comes from with this label of sustainability, and this will be the trend in the next years. So of course this is very interesting, and from our focus, we are mostly interested in the customization of these products from the point of view of flavors. As I said, we are a flavors and fragrances company mostly. We are not producing the final product. We are selling this to other companies which do this here in Spain at an international level. So there are many challenges in the flavor of these hydrolysates and the compatibility with other matrices. So we are very interested in these topics.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Revalue, from regulation point of view, how difficult do you think it will be to handle the regulators for to launch these new food products?
You know, I don't know, if it will be difficult or not difficult, because definitely have to, as I said, in my presentation, at least I am a research scientist, so I'm not from the factory that tried to produce fish protein hydrolysis. So for me, it was difficult, to make the conclusions, because as I said myself, I talked with Norwegian food safety authorities, and I asked, so, okay, what is the requirement for those fish protein powders? And they said that, okay, we don't have specific category, but then you have to use those, as I said, regulations as a guidelines. But we have already products in the market, so you can find fish protein powders, and we have those product data sheet, or how they call it, or product, and here it stands, so what is the microbiological quality in this product? That, okay, industry says that, okay, we are sure that this and this microbe is lower than this and this level. And yes, as I said, after that, when you study, good those regulations, so you see that, you can use, yes, this category, this, as it was like powder supplements, so, yeah, probably, the industry, they would say that, that, okay, in order to let new product, you have definitely, to work very tight with all those national authorities, to be able, to say that, okay, my product fulfills all the requirements, and we really are sure that it is good quality. But quality, this is like safety, it's nothing to do with the taste and how consumers will like your protein powders. From the regulations that, okay, this product is safe, but the taste, your industry has to assure with those, again, approved technologies themselves. And probably, as Alberto mentioned, so fish has very special taste. You have to like this taste. And yeah, so probably, yeah. So yeah, this is also an issue that industry will have to work, or maybe from the marketing, to show that, okay, this product is so healthy that whatever taste, it is, you want to eat it because it will make you, very healthy, very young, and so on. Yeah, but as I said, at least from my point of view, it was, at least in AU, the regulations, yeah, you have to study very hard to understand them. And it's very big documents,
Thank you. Thank you. And so you said, so as per the Alberto, the protein is a hot topic. Any new sources of protein are always welcome. Industry really looking forward to. And then the industry is also looking forward to the flavoring of these protein products, because they might have some off flavors. So flavoring, and then one customization of the flavors and the taste is very important. So these are from the industry point of view, and from the research point of view, from the regulators point of view. Yes, the quality is very important. Whatever we produce should be of quality. And then here the cold chain becomes very important, isn't it, to maintain the quality. So cold chain is equally important whenever we are talking about this fish and proteins and so on, because any protein needs the temperature maintenance. So that kind of stuff. So cold chain is equally important if we really want to work on this rest of material, because then only we can maintain the quality. So that's one thing. And then Rasa said we should work with industry closely. So then only we can find out what are the problems, socially relevant problems we can find out. And if we want the industry, because industry is working for a set of customers, and customers are the society. So socially relevant problems can only be found out when we are working closely with industry, which is not very common in India, unfortunately. So we now have to start working in that mode, working closely with the industry, involving industry in the project, and then only we can solve the problem. So with these, I'm really looking forward to the new opportunities of the collaborations, not only for this project, but Syntef is big, MET is big, Karensa is big, Bits Pilani is big. So we can move to the other parts which we are doing this. Maybe what we can do, we can have a kind of, Dr. Mathi and everybody agrees, a kind of inter-institutional kind of meet where we present, our scientists present whatever they are doing, your scientists also present in different areas. We can have the energy, one day on energy, one day on food, one day on different aspects, because we are working on different aspects. So what is your opinion, having this one-to-one interaction, colloquium on different thematic areas? Dr. Mathi and Dr. Rasa and Revalue, I want to have your opinion about this one.
Maybe I can go first.
Yes.
Definitely, we need to continue this collaboration, and it's easier to do this when we have projects, and like you already have the Omega project that both Ras and Revalue are involved in. So I'm guessing, of course, the collaboration will continue. But in terms of just having maybe a forum to discuss in general and look at maybe upcoming calls, I think that's a good idea. We just have to see how we can arrange that. It's always just easy if there's a
we can take group sections, so thematic groups we can create and then have one-to-one interaction. So that will be better. And people can present their.
Yeah, sorry. What I'm trying to say is it's just easier if there is a specific call you can apply to.
I know.
Something you're working towards, but definitely we need to have this continuous collaboration. Definitely.
Thank you. And then
I agree with Maitri. When we have projects, it's easier to communicate, because when we need and force somehow to communicate to each other. But I think also, as I mentioned in my presentation, that we need to know each other, because then it helps when we know if we have challenge, we can incorporate. We know that you're working with antioxidants, so it was why we invited you to Omega project. So I think one of the way, okay, existing project, it's the perfect way of communication. But I think like today, when you're having project meeting or project webinar, I think we can invite each other, because in this way you present the results which is maybe out of the scope of our project, but maybe when we will know what we are working with, and maybe it will be the new source for next project of a solving problem for a next. So I think we need to be more active. And now when we have so many webinars, I think this is okay, one of the positive way of this pandemic situation, when because we cannot travel to India so often, but look, this webinar, we invited people from Norway, from Bangladesh, from so many countries can participate. And when during 2 hours, we can present so many results, we can present what we're working with, people can ask questions. So I think we should use this possibility which a pandemic gave us.
Yes, definitely. So this opportunity is tremendous. And we should, webinars are really wonderful things. Like you sitting at your own place, you can connect with people, different people. So definitely this opportunity should be utilized more in future. And knowing each other, as you rightly said, knowing each other is equally important. Unless you don't know the capability of the other person, you cannot invite that person for a particular call or something like that. So that's very important. So that's, and then Revalue, you want to say something, and Alberto?
I have just few minutes, because I have another meeting, at 11 o'clock. So I'm a little bit like burning and I have to run a little bit.
Yes, yes.
Because it's meeting with industry. But my colleagues said really, the right way how we can continue this really nice cooperation. And I am really glad that I was involved in those all projects, in a Propos project where we get to know each other, also in the food and Revalue, and that we continue in a mega project. And and Rasa also, she's right, it's very nice, if we can invite each other to different webinars if we are arranging, and if it doesn't fit time, so then, we maybe we can just say or look at the records, and see what is going and so on. But it's really nice that we got this opportunity to get to know each other, that we also get opportunity to continue this, and I just hope that it will come more and more opportunities for this collaboration. Thanks for a nice meeting. I have to leave, unfortunately.
Thank you, Revalue. We are little late. Just half a minute to Alberto. Half a minute to Alberto. Yeah, please.
Well, as we are maybe at the end of the value chain, let's say that we will be open to collaborate, but maybe the academia have to propose some ideas, and then we will see or try to refine them in order to make something that makes sense from our business point of view, which is mostly flavors and protein flavorings for new proteins, let's say. We have already many projects in this direction, so it can be great. Yeah.
And everybody's experience is also a strength, no? The partner's experience is a strength for each other. So thank you so much. And then first, I would like to thank Dr. Matri first, because for agreeing to allow me to arrange this webinar within a quick time of 5 days. So thank you, Matri, for your confidence. Thank you. And I'm also equally thankful to all my partners who agreed to be with here in such a quick time and give the presentations and making this webinar what you call a reality, not just a dream. So thank you, Dr. Rasa, Dr. Revalue, Dr. Alberto, and Matri for agreeing to be here. and give the presentation. This is really, I see around 70 people from MET are participating. So they now know what the project is about, how maybe they are the future, they will have questions later on how to propose. So this was a like eye opener for other METians, like how this project is funding. They will also get to know how to make the projects like collaborative projects and all that. So that we can do a separate webinar how to do a collaborative project. But this is really very useful for the METians also, just to look forward to how this project has built up this partnership, and will continue to, and then how this partnership to be continued in terms of the new project. So thank you everyone, and thank you Dr. Silvamurthy sir, Dr. Rajiv Sharma, Dr. Chakravarti, and above all to founder president Dr. Ashok Chauhan, our Chancellor, Dr. Atul Chauhan, our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Balwita Shukla ma'am, for their confidence in us and allowing us to do these collaborations, to go forward. And I don't find any problem in working with any of this group. They have given the full free hand to do the collaboration. So I'm really thankful that to the MET group and MET people and my partners, my collaborators, and most importantly, my people who are behind this in this organizing, Khushbu and Asha, and other people like Karan and other people who have really worked very hard to make it this a reality. Thank you so much, and I look forward that we will continue this webinar series in the next project also in Omega. So thank you, and we are a little behind the schedule. Thank you, everyone.